this is not a particular endorsement for this particular set. I actually have some pretty major gripes with it, but I want to show you what they can do because I think they're an interesting thing to have, especially if you need to have miniature painting as something that is incredibly easy to set up, right? This doesn't require pallets or cups of water generally. This might also be good for somebody in a motorized wheelchair or even in a reclining, like in a hospital bed or something like that, where they may not have access to a full table. You can bring this up really close to your person and you don't need those accessory supplies. So, yesterday I did up a mini with these markers. This is Reaper Bones. I took it right out of the bag. I did not wash the mold release agent off of it. I did not put any primer on it. I didn't even clean up the mold lines. Everything on this guy is done with those markers, with the exception of his eyes. I did that with a brush afterwards, but the general highlight scheme, the edge highlighting here, all of this was done with those markers, and I think it's a pretty decent tabletop result. Now let's talk about the cons of this particular set, right? One, the color palette is skewed very heavily towards lighter and pastel colors, which wouldn't really be a problem, right? In theory, right? We've got a dark green, a medium brown, a dark blue, but when you actually take these out, right? This is number 622. 622 is supposed to be pine green, but when you hold this up, those are nowhere near the same color. I find that this little swatch book on the back is wildly inaccurate compared to the colors on the brushes themselves, and the brushes tend towards brighter and thinner than they appear. If you zoom in here, this 620 coffee color is supposed to be sort of a red-brown. This is the color it actually comes out of. You know, it's a much more sepia yellow-brown. And not having a darker brown than that in the set is pretty disappointing when you're doing a lot of wood and fur and, you know, generic fantasy palette. So there's other products like this out on the market, and there's products that have a wider range of colors. I know AK Interactive makes them. Deep Cut Studios just did a similar set filled with Army Painter Speed Paint. So once these go, I may look at something like that if they become popular with my beginner painters. But just wanted to get this out there and give you sort of an example of what, you know, you could do with these and, you know, a good 30-40 minutes of your time.